What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Tom Aspinall opened up about his upcoming heavyweight title defense against Ciryl Gane at UFC 321 later this month, sharing his thoughts on the unique challenges the French fighter presents. According to Aspinall, while the matchup is significant, he prefers to approach it like any other fight without unnecessary pressure. For me, this is just another fight. I don't like putting too much pressure on myself. I've got an opponent, and my job is to prepare for him the best I can, Aspinall explained calmly. He went on to acknowledge Gane's exceptional skill set, highlighting how his opponent's style differs from most heavyweights. Cyryl's really good. He's got a whole new style that I've not faced before. He moves differently compared to a lot of the guys in our division. He's nimble, fast, super fit, and very athletic. Most heavyweights tend to be slower and more rigid, but Gane's movement and fluidity make him a very different kind of challenge, he said. Aspinall emphasized that this stylistic contrast excites him rather than intimidates him. He believes both fighters will be tested physically and mentally in ways they haven't been before. I think for either of us to find success, we'll need to push each other to the point of exhaustion. That's when the real fight will begin. It's not something I've had to deal with too often in the heavyweight division because most of my opponents have been a bit slower. But with Gane, it's going to be about endurance, timing, and staying composed even when fatigue sets in. The British champion appears to relish this new kind of challenge, seeing it as an opportunity to evolve. I know I'll have to be super fit to handle his pace and movement. It's going to be a battle of skill and conditioning. I need to be patient and work my way into the fight, even if it means waiting until both of us have slowed down a little. That's when openings appear, and that's where I feel most comfortable, he concluded with quiet confidence. With UFC 321 fast approaching, Aspinall seems mentally grounded and physically prepared for what could be one of the most technical and fast-paced heavyweight title fights in recent history. His respect for Gane's athleticism is clear, but so is his belief in his own evolution as a fighter, embracing the challenge head-on with focus and composure. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Thanks for supporting us. Move on to another news. Gamrot's coach, Mike Brown, has spoken out following Gamrot's recent loss to Charles Oliveira, sharing a heartfelt message on Instagram that captured both his pride and disappointment. In his post, Brown wrote, "We win together, we lose together. I'm truly heartbroken for my friend Gamrot, but I will always admire his courage and willingness to take on big challenges." His statement reflected the deep respect and loyalty shared between the fighter and his team at American Top Team. Brown revealed that Gamrot's journey to this fight was far from ideal. The Polish contender arrived in Florida just 3 weeks before the bout to begin his training camp for a scheduled UFC headliner on November 8th. However, on his second day in America, Gamrot learned that Rafael Fiziev had withdrawn from his fight against Charles Oliveira. Without hesitation, Gamrot immediately began campaigning for the opportunity to face the Brazilian legend. Like a true soldier eager for battle, he wanted that fight, Brown explained. Within days, the fight was confirmed, leaving Gamrot with less than 2 weeks of focused preparation before boarding a plane to Brazil to take on one of the most dangerous finishers in UFC history. Despite the short notice and the odds stacked against him, Gamrot accepted the challenge. He trained hard for about 12 days, then flew across the world to test himself against a legend. It's always a gamble when you step into the Octagon, and this time, the gamble didn't pay off, Brown wrote. But even in defeat, Gamrot showed the same warrior spirit and passion that have defined his career. He's one of a kind. The coach also reminded fans that setbacks are part of competing at the highest level. When you're fighting the absolute best fighters on the planet, these things can happen. This was the first time in his 30 professional fights that he's ever been finished. Charles Oliveira himself is a legend and a former world champion, but even he has stumbled before. That's the nature of this sport, Brown reflected. He closed his message with encouragement and unwavering faith in his fighter's future. "My point is, I still believe in Mateus. I still believe he can become a world champion one day. It was a tough loss and a hard pill to swallow. But all we can do now is get better. We can always get better." Move on to another news. During a recent lighthearted appearance with radio host Chris Fade, UFC lightweight champion, the segment quickly turned into an unforgettable moment when Makhachev jokingly applied a rear naked choke on Fade, leaving everyone in the studio laughing, except perhaps the man in the choke. As the demonstration began, the hosts playfully encouraged Makhachev to fix Chris's neck, referring to the radio host's previous neck issues. With a grin, Islam asked, "Which side?" before moving behind Fade and positioning his arm carefully around his neck. The moment the pressure started, laughter erupted across the studio. Some of the crew shouted, "Put him to sleep! Put him to sleep!" while others nervously urged, "No, don't put him to sleep." Chris Fade, caught between amusement and panic, could be heard repeatedly begging, "Do not put me to sleep. Please, don't put me to sleep. The tension and laughter grew as Islam gently tightened his grip, controlling the hold with the precision of a world-class grappler, but without actually applying full pressure. The hosts continued to joke around, shouting, "Fade away! Make him fade away!" A playful pun on Chris' last name. Despite the chaotic mix of cheering and pleading, Makhachev remained composed and calm, smiling through the entire interaction. He adjusted the hold slightly, prompting another wave of laughter and mock screams. "No more, no more," Chris shouted, desperately asking for water, while the crew teased him further. "Give him water. Don't take the water. Don't put him to sleep," they laughed. Eventually, Islam loosened his grip, allowing Chris to catch his breath while the studio burst into applause and laughter. The host, still recovering from the surprise, jokingly said, "He's not choking me anymore." The playful encounter perfectly captured Islam's humble and humorous personality, a champion capable of intense combat in the octagon, yet friendly and respectful outside it. Moments like this remind fans why Makhachev is admired not only for his dominance inside the cage, but also for his grounded, good-natured character outside. His ability to turn a simple radio appearance into a viral, entertaining moment shows that the lightweight champion's presence commands attention, even when he's not throwing punches. Move on to another news. Former UFC bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling recently shared his thoughts on Umar Nurmagomedov's path to a title shot, suggesting that even if Umar defeats Mario Bautista at UFC 321, he still needs one more win before truly earning a championship opportunity. Speaking candidly, Sterling explained that while Umar has shown great potential, the depth and competitiveness of the bantamweight division demand more than just one or two notable victories to justify a title challenge. Umar got elevated to a title shot opportunity before and came up just short, Sterling said. He fought one top 5 guy in Corey Sandhagen. It was a solid performance. He looked good, not overly impressive, but definitely good enough to win convincingly. Still, that was his only top 5 victory. To me, that's not quite enough to warrant another immediate title shot. Sterling went on to assess the division's current landscape, pointing out that Bautista is also a legitimate contender. Mario Bautista's on, what, a 6-fight win streak right now. He's beaten tough opponents, including a former multi-time Bellator champion in Patchy Mix. Even though Patchy recently lost a close split decision, he's still a credible name, Sterling explained. If Bautista wins, I think he has a strong case for title contention. But if Umar wins, I still think he needs one more solid victory before fighting for the belt again. He emphasized that his opinion isn't influenced by personal bias or his friendship with champion Merab Dvalishvili. Even if Merab wasn't the champ, I'd still say the same thing. I like to see contenders beat one or two top guys consistently before getting a title shot, Sterling stated. Otherwise, you end up with a logjam at the top, guys fighting the same people over and over. That's what happened in the lightweight division a few years ago. Reflecting on past examples, Sterling compared the situation to the old bantamweight scene. It's like when TJ Dillashaw, Uriah Faber, and Dominic Cruz kept trading fights. Then Cody Garbrandt came in and shook things up for a bit, but it eventually circled back to the same names, he said. I just want to see some fresh matchups that make people excited, something that feels earned and competitive. Sterling concluded by addressing Petr Yan's recent comments about not being impressed with Dvalishvili's performance. Move on to another news. UFC President Dana White made a massive announcement earlier today, sending shockwaves through the MMA community. The UFC first teased fans on social media, posting that Dana White will be live on Instagram later today to make an announcement. As promised, Dana went live and revealed one of the most stacked cards of the year, UFC 323, set to take place at the T-Mobile Arena on December 6th. Headlining the event will be an electrifying bantamweight title fight between the number 3 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Merab Dvalishvili, and the number 2 ranked Petr Yan. According to Dana, Merab wasted no time after defending his title at UFC 320. He came straight into the UFC offices the following Monday, insisting on fighting again before the end of the year. Merab told us it was really important for him to break the record for the most title defenses in a single year, Dana said. Currently riding a 14-fight win streak, Dvalishvili aims to achieve an unprecedented 4th title defense in under 12 months, a feat never before accomplished in the UFC's bantamweight division. He already holds records for the most takedowns in UFC history, most bantamweight wins, and most bantamweight title defenses. Dana praised him for his relentless drive, saying, "This kid is on fire. You have to respect the hell out of Merab for wanting to break records and stay active." Standing across from him will be Petr Yan, a former champion and one of the division's most dangerous dangerous strikers. Yan is an absolute savage, Dana continued. This fight is going to be pure chaos. Two elite athletes at the top of their game. In the co-main event, Alexandre Pantoja will defend his flyweight title against the #1 contender Josh Van. Pantoja enters the bout on an 8-fight winning streak and currently holds the record for most finishes and wins in flyweight history. Meanwhile, Josh Van, coming off a Fight of the Year contender against Brandon Royval, has exploded onto the scene with 4 wins in under a year. He already holds division records for most strikes landed per minute and best striking differential, earning a reputation as one of the most exciting fighters on the roster. Josh Van is all action, all the time. Move on to another news. Dana White has officially shut down the swirling rumors suggesting that a potential super fight between Pereira and Jon Jones was being planned to take place at the White House. The speculation began after an MMA-focused Instagram account posted a teaser implying that negotiations were underway for the historic matchup. However, Dana wasted no time in setting the record straight, leaving a firm comment directly on the post to dispel the false reports. In his response, Dana clarified the situation with his trademark bluntness, stating, "We have not talked about one fight for the White House, and will not until February. So anything you hear before then is total bull." His comment immediately went viral across social media, shutting down weeks of fan-driven speculation about one of the most talked about potential fights in recent memory. The rumor had gained traction among MMA fans online, with many imagining a once-in-a-lifetime showdown between light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira and heavyweight king Jon Jones, possibly taking place as part of a symbolic White House card. Given the massive star power of both fighters, the idea spread quickly, fueled by fan-made posters, online discussions, and unverified reports from smaller MMA pages. However, Dana White's statement has made it clear that no discussions, negotiations, or plans for such an event have taken place. The UFC president also emphasized that no fights for the proposed White House event will be discussed or finalized until early next year, further discrediting any current rumors circulating online. This is not the first time fans have gotten ahead of themselves regarding a potential cross-division super fight involving Jon Jones. After Pereira's dominant performances at light heavyweight, many began speculating about a dream matchup between the two champions, a fight that, while intriguing, remains purely hypothetical at this point. By directly addressing the rumor, Dana White reaffirmed his stance on misinformation and reminded fans to wait for official UFC announcements. His statement leaves no room for interpretation. There are no active plans for Pereira versus Jones, and any reports suggesting otherwise are completely unfounded. For now, both fighters remain focused on their respective divisions, with Pereira preparing for his next light heavyweight title defense and Jones recovering from injury ahead of his long-awaited return to the Octagon. Move on to another news. Paddy has become one of the most talked about names in the UFC, and not just for his fighting skills. His charisma, humor, and unique personality have made him a standout both inside and outside the Octagon. Recently, former UFC superstar and women's pioneer Rousey shared her thoughts about Pimblett, praising him for his ability to connect with fans and understand the entertainment side of a fight game. Rousey, while appearing at Comic-Con in New York, discussed what it takes for fighters to truly break into the mainstream spotlight. She explained that success in MMA isn't just about winning fights. It's also about becoming a recognizable and relatable figure outside the cage. "What I think really matters," Rousey said, "is that you can make people know who you are, even if they don't watch fighting. That's what it means to be an entertainer." Many fighters today don't realize that they're also entertainers. But one person who truly gets that is Paddy Pimblett. Her comments quickly made waves across the MMA community, reaching Pimblett himself, who responded with gratitude. "Thank you very much, Rousey," he wrote on social media. "That means a lot coming from a UFC legend." The acknowledgement from one of the sport's most iconic figures was a huge compliment to the rising British star. Before even signing with the UFC, Pimblett had already built a massive following in the UK due to his flamboyant pre-fight rituals, signature haircut, and outspoken attitude. His fighting style, aggressive, confident, and always aiming for a finish, only boosted his popularity. Now, with multiple UFC wins under his belt, Paddy has become one of the organization's fastest rising stars. There's even talk of him potentially facing Ilia Topuria, who recently became the lightweight champion, a matchup that would undoubtedly be one of the most talked about fights of the year. While Pimblett may not yet be a household name in North America, his combination of talent, charisma, and fan engagement is turning him into one of the sport's most marketable personalities. As Rousey pointed out, being a fighter today is about much more than just combat skills. It's about commanding attention, telling your story, and entertaining the audience. Paddy, with his natural flair and confidence, seems to have mastered that balance. And if his career continues on its current trajectory, he might just become one of the biggest stars the UFC has ever seen.